October 1993, the Sunset Strip in the heart of Los Angeles. It's Halloween night. The sidewalks are loud and crowded, and outside a nightclub, a 23-year-old actor has just collapsed onto the pavement. He is, by nearly every account, one of the most gifted young performers of his entire generation, and the one person in the world who loved him like a brother. The friend who, a few years earlier, had climbed onto a motorcycle and ridden more than 1,000 miles through the night just to reach him, is nowhere near. His name was River Phoenix, and the friend who was not there that night would spend the next 30 years of his life refusing, absolutely refusing to speak about him in the past tense. That friend was Keanu Reeves. Most people know the quiet, grieving Keanu Reeves of today, the gentlest man in Hollywood, the one the whole world quietly decided to love. But almost no one really knows the friendship that shaped him into that man. Before the fame, before the long line of losses that would come to define his life, before the sad, silent figure the internet turned into a meme, there was one person who cracked Keanu's guarded heart wide open. One friend he led all the way in, and when that friend was suddenly, senselessly gone, something in Keanu closed again, and it never fully reopened. This is the story of the brother he chose, the 1,000 miles he rode for him, the single scene they made together that still breaks strangers' hearts 30 years later, and the goodbye that Keanu Reeves was never, ever able to say. To this very day, he can barely bring himself to say River's name out loud in public. By the end of this story, you will understand exactly why. To understand what Keanu lost, you first have to understand who River Phoenix was. He was born in 1970 into a family unlike almost any other. His parents were wandering idealists who gave their children names like River and Rain and Leaf and Liberty, and who raised them traveling, often poor, sometimes performing on street corners for spare change. River grew up barefoot and vegan and fiercely, achingly idealistic, the kind of boy who would give away his own coat to someone colder than he was. And somewhere along that strange, unsettled road, this gentle, homeschooled child turned out to be one of the most naturally gifted actors anyone had ever seen. By the time he was 16, he had quietly broken the hearts of a whole generation in Stand By Me. By 18, he had earned an Academy Award nomination for Running on Empty. Hollywood was already reaching for its crown. He was, by every serious account, the single most promising young actor of his time, a river that everyone simply assumed would run for another 50 years. And then, in 1989, on the set of a film called Parenthood, he met a young Canadian actor with a motorcycle and a guarded, watchful kind of stillness. Keanu Reeves. On paper, the two of them could not have been more different. River was the intense, barefoot idealist who felt everything at full volume. Keanu was the quiet loner who had already learned, from a childhood of leaving towns and being left by people, never to let anyone get too close. But something between them clicked, instantly and completely. Each of them recognized something in the other. Two young men who felt like outsiders, even while standing at the very center of everything. River talked about music and animals and saving the world. He played in a band. He burned brighter than anyone in the room. He seemed, to nearly everyone who met him, almost too luminous, too open, too alive for the hard business he'd been dropped into. And Keanu, the boy who had trained himself never to ask for too much, found in River something he had been quietly missing his entire life, a person he could simply belong to. For the first time, he wasn't watching from the edge of the room. He was all the way in. They became inseparable, not co-stars, brothers. In 1990, a director named Gus Van Sant was preparing a small, strange, aching film called My Own Private Idaho, the story of two lost young men drifting along the very margins of the world. He wanted them both, but River wasn't sure. The part was dark and raw, and saying yes to it meant exposing something tender and unhealed to the entire world. He hesitated. So Keanu did something that tells you everything you will ever need to know about how these two loved each other. He didn't pick up a telephone. He didn't send a message through an agent. He got on his motorcycle and he rode more than 1,000 miles from Toronto all the way down to Florida, where River was staying, through long hours and through the night, just to put that script in his friend's hands and talk him into it face to face. Think about that. 1,000 miles of open road for a single conversation. That was the currency of their friendship. Not phone calls, not favors. Showing up, and when River finally gave his answer, the answer told you everything too. "Okay," he said. "I'll do it if you do it. I won't do it if you won't." Neither one of them would walk into that fire unless the other was walking in right beside him, so they both said yes. On that shoot, River played Mike, a narcoleptic drifter searching for a mother who didn't want him. Keanu played Scott, the rich boy only playing at being lost. But off camera, there was no acting at all. They were together constantly, riding, talking, laughing, until it hurt. Years later, when Keanu was asked for his single favorite memory of River, he didn't choose a premiere, or an award, or a famous night. He chose something almost unbearably small. The two of them on a motorcycle during filming, River riding on the back, holding on, no lines to say, and nothing to prove. Just two friends playing, he remembered. It was a really good day. Of everything they ever built together, that was the moment he chose to keep. Those were the best days either of them had ever had. Two lifelong outsiders who had finally found, in each other, a place where they simply belonged. And neither one of them had any idea how few of those days were left. There is one scene in My Own Private Idaho that people still cannot get through with dry eyes. It happens by a campfire, out on an empty road in the middle of the night. Two drifters sitting close in the dark, with nowhere in the world to be. And River's character does something the script never quite dared to ask of him. He tries to tell his friend that he loves him. Here is what makes it almost holy. Those words were not really Gus Van Sant's. River wrote them himself. He took the pages home and he rewrote that campfire scene into a raw, trembling, half-spoken confession. A young man admitting out loud for the very first time that he is in love with someone who may not be able to love him back in the same way. "I really want to kiss you, man," he says. And then, quieter, almost afraid of the words, "I love you, and you don't have to pay me." It is one of the most naked, most vulnerable moments ever committed to film, and the person he is saying it to, across that fire, is Keanu. Watch it now, knowing everything that would come after, and it becomes almost impossible to bear, because you are not simply watching two characters. You are watching two friends, two young men who genuinely, deeply loved each other. One of them pouring his whole open heart out into the dark, and the other holding it as gently as he can. River gave that scene everything he had inside him. Many people who know film will tell you it is the finest thing he ever did. In that firelight, the line between River the actor and River the friend simply dissolved. There was only a young man telling someone he loved that he loved him. And it is the closest the rest of us will ever get to standing inside their friendship, because that was River, all the way open, holding nothing back, feeling everything at full volume. He was the one who could say the tender thing out loud. And Keanu, the guarded one, was learning from him. For a few short, bright years, River was teaching Keanu how to let a person all the way in, how to love a friend without flinching, without armor. It was the greatest gift anyone had ever handed him, and it is exactly what made what happened next so nearly impossible to survive. By 1993, both of their lives were racing forward. Keanu was on the edge of enormous fame, and River, at just 23, was already spoken of as one of the finest actors alive, with his whole staggering future still in front of him. Decades of work everyone assumed were coming. And then, on the night of October the 31st, Halloween, all of it simply stopped. Outside a nightclub on the Sunset Strip, in the middle of the noise and the crowds and the costumes, River Phoenix collapsed onto the sidewalk. His younger brother was there. His sister was there. Someone cried out for help into the dark, but there was nothing anyone could do. By the early hours of that morning, River was gone. He was 23 years old, the most promising young actor of his generation, the barefoot idealist who wanted to save the world, who gave away his coat to strangers, who wrote a love scene by a campfire, was, without warning, simply not in the world anymore. Keanu was not there that night. Like so much of the worst news in any life, it reached him from far away, while he was somewhere else, at work, living an ordinary day that split, without a moment's warning, into a before and an after. There is no real record of what he felt in that moment because he has almost never spoken about it. And that silence, that 30-year silence, may be the loudest thing he has ever said about how much it hurt. The world mourned River loudly in magazine covers and candlelit tributes outside that club. But Keanu mourned him the way he does everything, quietly, privately, inward. He did not give tearful interviews. He did not sell a single piece of his grief. He folded it up and carried it, the way he would go on to carry every loss that came after. And something in him, the people close to him have said, closed that autumn and never fully opened again. The young man River had coaxed out into the light went quiet once more. He had let one person all the way in, and losing him taught Keanu in the cruelest way a person can be taught, exactly what it costs to love without holding anything back. That was more than 30 years ago now. And here is the single thing that tells you who Keanu Reeves truly is. In all of that time, 3 full decades, he has never once allowed River to become a memory. Ask him about River today, and he will not use the past tense. I hate speaking about him in the past, he has said. For Keanu, River is not someone who was. He is someone who is. And on the rare, careful occasions when he does speak of him, it is with a tenderness that has not dimmed in 30 years. He was a really special person, Keanu once said. So original, unique, smart, talented, fiercely creative, thoughtful, brave, and funny. You can hear, underneath every single word, a man still quietly protecting his friend, still keeping him close, still, in some way, riding 1,000 miles for him. River was the person who taught Keanu how to open his heart, and when he lost him, Keanu made a quiet, lifelong decision, one he has never announced, but has kept every day since. He would keep that heart open anyway. He would carry River's gentleness, River's fierce kindness, River's way of loving people out loud, and he would spend the rest of his life handing it piece by piece to everyone he met. The seat he gives up, the time he takes, the way he truly looks at a person. The gentlest man in Hollywood learned how to be gentle from the brother he lost on a sidewalk at 23. There is a reason a story like this one belongs here, on this channel. Because the man we gather to remember here, Robin Williams, understood exactly this kind of love. The kind that takes a private, unbearable grief and turns it quietly into warmth for everyone else. Some people lose the person they love most and let it make them smaller and harder. And some people take that same loss and spend the rest of their lives keeping that person's light alive in the way they treat the world. River did that for Keanu. Robin did it for all of us. And in remembering them, so can we. If this story moved you today, consider joining our family here as a keeper of the light. It's a small way to help us keep telling stories like this one, the quiet, human ones the world so often forgets to tell. You'll find the join button right below this video. However you choose to support us, thank you for being here with us. Stay with us and help us keep that kind of light alive.